Welcome back to Sand City Sports. We're here to bring you the sports and current events news stories that you need to know. Yes, indeed. Just get myself in order. We had dealing with a little bit of cold and flu the other night, but that has been straightened out, and we're back. Yes, indeed. Brother might jump on in a few to talk a little bit of football, and let's keep it moving and grooving. Let's. Okay, of course, we got to check the socials that are right here. It's always something. Socials are good. There's always some issue. Got to plug the, got to charge up the computer. What's going on, Shane and Des Moines? Appreciate it. Sand City, we're in the building. We got through some of the difficulties that are technical. And, yeah, ready to rock and roll. Ready to keep it moving and grooving. All right. So we're going to jump over to the intro. Then I'm going to make sure that we have power. And then we're going to blast off. Hey, mi casa, su casa. You know what this is. Let's get our volume correct. Let's get everything in order like how it needs to be. Wednesday edition, Sand City Sports. We can bump up the... That's better, the screen, and then bring the volume to where it needs to be. And let go. Yes, welcome. Sand City. Hey, to the business. I am your host, King Content. Artist formerly known as Andre King. Thank you so much for tuning in to Sand City Sports. We're back here to bring you come on in. Because it's in that room. Yes, sir. Wednesday night, Passion Project, Sand City. Go. What are you thinking about the NBA? Certain things going on in Los Angeles. And the mega stars a tremendous amount that is happening. Never mind just a day-to-day grind. I'm interested in how you are navigating from one day to the next. What do they say, folks? You get a little bit older, the days are long, and the years are short. Sure enough, that's correct. Days are long, years are short. Got a little bit of show enough. That's the last dragon for the New Jacks out there, the youngins out there. They actually had a last dragon showing over the weekend. I was busy, but not busy enough that I could have, would have, should have been there. Okay, you're always busy, but you got to make time, particularly for Bruce Leroy and the Last Dragon. So, per usual, if it's not one thing, it is the next. Let me just make sure that we're plugged in to power so we can keep this episode going, and then we're gonna blast. Off. Getting in a little bit late, but hey, we think you got to go through. You go through, okay? So we Sand City, woo! We ready to rock and roll. Let's get this power taken care of. Yes, sir. Ooh. We're plugged in. Watch it. Don't want to interfere with our shot. Bump it, hit the slide to the right. Slide to the left. Okay, but we're back. We got power. We're go for launch, and let's go ahead and get locked in and move and groove. Okay, bro. Is looking to jump on in a bit. Shout out to Shane from Des Moines. So when he comes on, that's when we'll dive into NFL. You have to give his takes. He's a true blue and a die-hard Patriots fan. So give his takes on all things NFL, particularly and specifically the New England Patriots. But as far as your boy is concerned, we got to get into the NBA. Man, busy slate of games. Beautiful thing. Okay. San Antonio and Dallas right now, second quarter, ESPN. Again, why don't I have, you know what I mean? I got the ESPN app. I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. So we have to get this Dallas San Antonio game on, even though we're live right now. But I have to do it. I have to do it. Should have been done previously. Okay, should have been done previously. But let's. All right. So I'm gonna get this game on, and then yeah. While I'm doing that, it looks like okay. We have yes, sir. What is going on? Hey, welcome. Going to be a long year for the Celtics. They did it to ourselves. This right here, the second point. Mr. VJ Edgecombe going off. I passed on him in my fantasy draft, folks. I passed on young VJ going to the 76ers. I kicked myself in doing it. Him going off, showing what he's made of. The young man could get it. Could he has. Look, I went with Derek White. Let's get VJ because I'm talking to you, but we got to have the visuals. So I went with Derek White in the fantasy league because I'm in win now mode. I'm in win now mode. People, please let me know what you think. Chris, particularly, I got it. I passed on Dylan Harper. I passed on Ace Bailey, and I passed on the young man VJ Edgecombe. Only because my theory, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. I believe in Edgecombe and Dylan Harper. Okay, Ace Bailey hasn't. I'm not sold on Ace Bailey. I'm not so. I'm he's working out who his he's working out who his representation is, and I'm not sold on Ace Bailey. Dylan Harper, most certainly. And then VJ Edgecombe as well. I kick myself. Which Ace Bailey are you getting, Chris? Are we getting the Ace Bailey that was partnered with Dylan Harper in the great state of New Jersey, playing for Rutgers University, that missed the NCAA tournament? How do you have 2 top 5 picks and miss the NCAA tournament? If that's not dysfunction, everything's bigger in Texas. Everything's bigger in Dallas, Big D. If that's not dysfunction, I don't know what is. Cooper's going to be all right. He lucked into playing for one of the best coaches on the planet in Jason Kidd. So Cooper's going to be good. Right? No point. I'm reminded. I remember as a little bit of a throwback. Luka Doncic, his first game in the NBA as a Dallas Maverick was against the Phoenix Suns and DeAndre Ayton. And, so Cooper has no points. Luka, he had a kind of, he didn't have a LeBron James like first game. If we can go all the way back to 2003, LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers playing against the Sacramento Kings, right? What did he give him? 25 points, 8 rebounds. LeBron James' first game in the NBA was a reminder of the people that the year before, when he was at St. Vincent St. Mary's getting the national championship, they suspended him for that one game over the foolishness. Do we remember that, folks? That LeBron James was suspended one game in high school because he came to St. Vincent St. Mary's in a souped-up Humvee and a suit. He was suited and booted, and people, they didn't know how he did it, but he did something wrong. He's got to be suspended for a game with no proof, no evidence, no nothing. They just suspended LeBron for a game because he was shining too bright. It's 20 years since that, and now these high school guys showing up with it's like, you have a Humvee. Why don't you have, an Escalade? It's not that people are surprised that they're balling on a budget. Chris remembers, you know what I mean? Shout out to the awesome 80s. Coming up, folks that was in the high school, college. This is 2003, 2004. The college days, the early career days. But they suspended young LeBron for a game. That was the lone game St. Vincent St. Mary's lost his senior year when they came back with a vengeance and got that national championship. If we recall, the year before that, they lost in the Ohio State Championship to an upstart team. Go ahead and check out More Than a Game. Won't be disappointed. It's a documentary. It's a good doc. It's solid. More Than a Game. It's not Hoop Dreams, but it's solid. At All Costs is another documentary you need to check out about AAU and the modern basketball. At All Costs, solid as well. But check out More Than a Game. LeBron James did not, and that's when the world came to know who LeBron James was. With the Sports Illustrated. Shout out to Sports Illustrated. Shout out to our publications in the old days, right? The Chosen One, as a junior in high school, had that pressure on his back. And looking back 20 and some odd years later, he's more than lived up to it, which is remarkable. There's a lot of things that are remarkable about LeBron James. His business acumen, with all the professional players that end up flat broke, right? He has managed and continues to manage his fortune empire, always doing new and innovative things in different spaces, shattering glass ceilings. I'm a fan of LeBron. We're gonna talk Knicks. Yeah. Got the dub. With some margin against a very good Cleveland Cavaliers. Chris, you say my, hey, we the Knicks and I, we're on thin ice. Okay, we're on thin ice right now. Tom Thibodeau was at the Boston Celtics training facility the other day, talking to the team, talking to Tatum. You know what I mean? Coming back to formative. Tom Thibodeau, he's a local guy. Salem State coached. Clippers are still in scandal mode. This modern NBA, good points, Chris, per usual. Keep them coming. The Clippers are going to be all right. The Clippers are going to be all right, folks. Okay? That is facts, Chris. It's facts. Because Ty Lue knows his business. By the way, shout out to Sean Fine. Sean Fine, Director of Player Development for the Clippers. Barnstable High School graduate, class of 96. You understand what I'm saying? All right? One of our local, I'm going back, but local heroes. And he's on that staff. Sean Fine, he is a grind, he's just a worker. And I noticed I'm talking about somebody you have no idea what I'm talking about, but he's a local guy. But what I'm getting at is he got to the Clippers via Kenny Atkinson. Because you remember, folks, the Brooklyn Nets didn't need a coach. Y'all remember that? The old Kyrie, not the new Kyrie. Not the Kyrie on a team that people think is going to the NBA Finals somehow, some way, even though they traded away Luka Legend. But now they get Cooper Flag, who can't even barely see. Cooper Flag can barely see an R-rated movie. Never mind have any. He ain't doing no after anything in Dallas. Okay, if anything, Cooper Flag is probably going to the Dallas high school games to hang out with his peers. If anything, because he was young anyway. Because he gray shirted. They pulled some magic out of it. He was young to start with, and then he skipped his senior year being young. So Cooper's gonna be at all of the Friday Night Lights games. He's gonna be at Kyler Murray's high school in Texas after the games. He ain't going out. He ain't hitting this spot, that spot. Never mind that's not really good for you anyway, but he's just too young for any of it. All right? He's going to be in them $75 million stadiums they build in Texas for the high school sports. That's what Cooper's going to be. But this idea that the Dallas Mavericks can trade, and look, I don't mind the narrative. I see, they're on paper, in 2K, they can do these things. In 2K, you throw a healthy AD out there and a Derek Lively. Shout out to John Shire. Shout out to Duke. Cooper Flag. Again, John Shire, Duke. PJ Watt, you just throw all of this height and length and athleticism in Jason Kidd's system and, what they're going to be defensively. Okay. But you're not talking about prime Luka to get you to an NBA Finals. You're talking about 19-year-old Cooper. So it's going to take time, period of the story. But he's going to be fine. He's going to develop. Interesting point relative to Cooper Flag, right? Because Rick Carlisle, people are, we've gone past this, but I'm not going past it. Rick Carlisle had the Dallas Mavericks moving towards an NBA Finals. But he saw the writing on the wall because Luka, people have, he's, what do you want to call him? Whatever you, Hookah Luka, Hefty Luka, Husky, whatever you want to call him. None of that stuff meant much of anything to me, even though, yes, he did need to be in better shape. But Husky Luka took Dallas to the NBA Finals. Husky Luka shot explosive Ant-Man Edwards out the gym and usurped Minnesota, who usurped Denver that year and should have been in the NBA Finals to take an L to the Boston Celtics with the dynastic team that they had, led by Drew Holiday, the leader, the heart and soul of a dynastic and championship team that they jettisoned to Portland, closing their championship window for the next decade plus. It has nothing to do with Tatum's injury. Zero, zilch, nada, nothing, folks. Don't talk to me about Jason Tatum's injury. In terms of why the Celtics are chips. Now, Derek White is going to be an all-star, and we're going to get back to that because we need to talk about VJ Edgecombe and why I passed on this young man, and I kicked myself. He's not going to put up – he's balling right now. Maybe this will continue. Maybe. Because why I kicked myself and why I should have taken Edgecombe and why I didn't take Dylan Harper, who was available, is because with Dylan Harper's case, who is – folks, a lot of talk about Cooper. Dylan Harper is that dude. Dylan Harper is Ace Bailey with maturity. That's who he is. Son of Ron Harper. Ron Harper, he was a dude. Ron Harper going toe-to-toe. Now, nobody could go toe-to-toe, but Ron Harper talking about athleticism, explosiveness, swagger, the whole nine. When Jordan, before the shot, took down the Cleveland Cavaliers, but Ron Harper was silky smooth with it. Obviously, and so how Ron Harper became an integral part of the second Jordan trifecta is because he and Michael Jordan battled, right? They had that connection from just battling in the 80s. And then Ron Harper came on and got the 3 championships in the second, and got him a couple more championships with the Lakers, went to Phil with, he had a good career. Good dude. My pops knows him, plays golf with him. He's New Jersey guy. But his son, Dylan, is going to be an all-star. But why did I pass on Dylan in terms of my fantasy draft, folks? He's got De'Aaron Fox. He's got Victor Wembanyama, ranked for the fantasy sports people out there. Victor Wembanyama is ranked second. What they're expecting from the Unicorn. So he's got 2 all-stars And then he's got the rookie of the year in Stephon Castle. So the Spurs are back. Matter of fact, all this talk about how Dallas is supposed to be, right, that needs to be converted to what San Antonio is going to be. Right? They're not waiting on Kyrie Irving to get back and wondering if AD, now, yes, is going to be healthy and Wemby, but, I see Wembanyama having a Durant-like career. I don't want to put anything on him, good, bad, or indifferent. I see him having a Durant-like career where obviously he doesn't have great physical strength. He's not muscular, but he has notable functional strength. He understands angles. He understands how to bump people, get them up off of him. He has great functional strength. And in all the exercises and the yoga, Pilates, all the things that people do to make sure that their body is prepared. And he has the frame for the modern NBA, Wemby. He's not a lumbering, right? Yao Ming is just the game. If you're like a giant, a literal giant, a Goliath type of a giant like Yao Ming, this modern NBA is not for you. Yao Ming is not built to run half marathons. He's not built to win half marathons. I got to push back on this, Chris. Good point. I say they have their they have their Fab Four. They have their Fantastic Four. It's all right there. Never mind the second apron and how it needs to change. Okay? They have the Fab Four. They got Wemby and De'Aaron Fox who are ready now, today, to be All-Stars. Wemby, put him in the MVP put him in the MVP conversation. Go ahead and do it. Done. So you have an MVP candidate. Right? Shout out to Ralph Sampson. Go ahead and check out Ralph Sampson on All the Smoke. I don't know if we got that clip last episode. We might have to replay it. But yeah, we got some Ralph Sampson for you. Really good interview on All the Smoke. Some good clips. So Wemby's an MVP candidate. De'Aaron Fox doing it for the home state. Back in the motherland. He's an all-star. Stephon Castle's rookie of the year. Yeah, Harrison Barnes. He was a starter on the Golden State Warriors. A young Harrison Barnes, a starter on the Golden State Warriors. Harrison Barnes is your vet. He's your culture setter. He's your Al Horford. Still has some good years left in him. If y'all remember, a Harrison Barnes supposed to be like the next LeBron out of North Carolina, a 6'8", all everything, right? He's got good years left. Throw him out there to just be that vet. Excuse me. Long in the tooth indeed. But he's playing with a bunch of young lions. So they need that presence. Right? He's playing with Castle's a second-year guy. Harper's a first-year guy. What is Wemby, a second, third-year guy? De'Aaron's got a little bit more, but, De'Aaron's still in his 20s. Right? The Spurs are ready now. Dallas will be ready in another year or two. But again, relative to Cooper Flagg, get this game on. I got to get this game on here. What am I playing for ESPN for if I'm not going to watch the doggone games? Yeah, Cooper. It's gonna, he's only right. He's got to get there. He's not there right now. But Jason Kidd will most certainly, and Kidd has a track record of this. Jason Kidd didn't have the patience or the perspective. But do we forget who put the ball in Giannis Antetokounmpo's hands? Do we forget that? How Giannis plays as a point center, and where did that start? That started with Jason Kidd. The Spurs, they're back. We hope, and we're mindful that Popovich, he's on the mend. And come on now. Oh, see, I got to do. All right, folks. gonna take. I gotta go to ESPN, and then I gotta. Yeah, but Spurs are. They're ready. They're ready to go. Last year, unfortunate with Wemby. Yeah, I understand you want to be healthy with you. Excuse me. You want to be cautious with him so that he stays healthy. But Victor Wembanyama to me is. Hold on. Got my Spurs game. Let's go. Oh my goodness. ESPN trying to give me a hard time. Okay. All right. Now they're telling me I got a what? Can you believe ESPN? I'm sorry for these technical difficulties. ESPN, I already have the app. Now they're telling me I got to go over and go to ESPN.com. Okay, folks. I got to X out a couple tabs. I have put the technical issues here, but we got to do our best to get the game on. There was no issue last. I don't know why ESPN is tripping over here. We ain't have no issues. We ain't have no issues last year with the ESPN stream. Now they're talking about, I got to go to ESPN.com. Yeah, stream. Got to throw the code on. HT. Go ahead and get that activation. Gotta log in. What the heck are you talking about? I already have ESPN. Just paid the bill. What are you talking about? Folks, all due respect to ESPN, what is this $29.99 a month that they're trying to do right now? I'm already paying the 11. What's going on here? I had the above the rim last year, no problem. Now you say I got to scan a QR code. I'm already paying. Now you're saying I got to pay 30. I'm going to have to navigate this another time. And I got my hopes up. Now they want to talk about stream and put in a code and got to pay 30, 40. Whatever happened to the ESPN bundle, huh? Whatever happened to $11.99, I get the Disney, I get the Hulu, I get ESPN, and we're good. Next thing you know, it's like used car salesman over here. They want charge this, charge that, charge the third. All right, folks, I apologize for the interruption, but myself and the worldwide leader in sports, we're at odds right now. Not happy with them. Might have to call in the Stephen A. Smith show to air my concerns. Stephen A. Smith, I don't know if he's worried about, what's going on with the app. Stephen A. Smith, is doing, you want to talk about a jack of all trades. He's doing First Take. He's doing the Stephen A. Smith show. He's talking sports, talking politics, talking late night television hosting. He's maximizing that competitive advantage. That's what Stephen A. Smith is doing. Stephen A. Smith's mindset to me is he still thinks he works for the Philadelphia Inquirer. Even though he's one of the top, if not the top personality in sports media, his mindset is, no, I'm still that intrepid kid out of the HBCU trying to make a name for myself at the Philadelphia Inquirer. Stephen A. Smith, one of the, as Brian Windhorst is to LeBron James, right? That journalist that developed a connection, developed a relationship, but then also was a part of the mythology, the myth making of the kid from Akron as he's getting his start, helping him to build his brand, and it's worked for both parties. Brian Windhorst, was just a beat writer for the Akron, whatever. He was a writer for an obscure. Akron. I believe Chris Broussard worked in Ohio and Akron specifically, and as he's building, and climbing up the ladder. But Windhorst goes from, if obscure is too strong, a secondary journalistic outpost to being an ESPN insider based on the relationship and his coverage, his solid coverage of LeBron James, explaining who this kid is to a curious and skeptical public who've all been shown that the kid remains special. We're going to get to LeBron and the Lakers. Ooh, goodness. Chris, amen. Chris is like, Chris is to Sin City Sports, for the Odd Couple people out there, he's what Rob G is to the Odd Couple. I feel like Chris is the super producer, Sin City Sports. The Akron Beacon Journal. What? Quite a freaking find right there. Brian Windhorst, early 2000. Seeing the writing on the wall. Going all in. It's another thing I think about. Kind of two things. Stephen A. Smith, who we're talking about, who we're going to continue to talk about, who was, again, that. Remember, AI used to, the Philadelphia, Stephen A. Smith was the beat writer that was telling the story of AI. Super producer Chris in the chat. Adding value, surplus value to Sin City Sports. Much obliged. This upstart community. Shout out to Shane from Des Moines as well. Malin Militia. Appreciate folks. Yeah, Chris Haynes another. I think Chris Haynes also worked for the Akron Beacon Journal. Covering LeBron James, and he used that as a stepping stone to keep building. And Wendy, NBA insider. Chris Haynes, Yahoo insider. And obviously Stephen A. Smith is, top of the game. But my point back to Stephen A. Smith, just in thinking about people that, have the hustle, Stephen A. Smith reminds me in how he works while being the top guy in terms of all these different things that he does, and kind of keeps you quote unquote young and keeps you going. But Stephen A. Smith reminds me of Jay Leno, who had that hustle mindset from the standpoint. People know Jay Leno. I tell the story again and again and again. Never mind the fact Jay Leno's a Massachusetts guy, greater Boston guy. But just how you want to handle success, right? Because one of my colleagues said it, always remembered it. You got to be careful what you wish for, folks. Why is that? Because you might get it. Got to be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. Now what? Now what do I do? Now what do I do? How do you handle the success? Stephen A. Smith, like a Jay Leno. Jay Leno didn't spend none of the NBC money. Never mind NBC. I know what the heck is going on with NBC. I tried to tune in yesterday. I couldn't do it. I finally tuned in today, and the games aren't on NBC. So what are you doing to me? Yesterday he couldn't find, and that was a little bit of production issue on me. These things need to be set up before I come on. And by the way, Chris, yes, I am going to get to the Knicks. And we're going to talk about VJ Edgecombe and how I passed on in my fantasy draft. I'm having a little bit of remorse. I don't know. I should have bit the bullet and went with Edgecombe. Or if I was really bold, the player that I'm most high on, who's not named Cooper Flagg, is Dylan Harper. telling you, man, super producer Chris is on it. Chris Haynes has a rags to riches story. Just somebody that loved the game, just always around the game, had that, didn't have necessarily all of the, shiny ornaments and degree from this place and degree from that place. I mean, he's educated, no two ways about that. But somebody that's just there on the ground floor, going to all the events, the Drew League games, the Summer League, the Pro-Ams, obviously the professional games, the college, UC, so that's awesome. Security guard by night, basketball blogger, investigator, appreciator by day. I didn't know that about Chris Haynes. That, he had maybe a more circuitous kind of a roundabout route to getting into his journalistic career. So that's pretty cool. Didn't know he was a Cali guy either. Small world. So yes, shout out to those hungry ones, the Haynes, the Brian Windhorst, Stephen A. Smiths. Let's come back to the point about VJ Edgecombe. Then we're going to go back to the point about the Dallas Mavericks, who I can't see because ESPN wants to charge me. I don't know what the heck is going on. Maybe I should watch my mouth. I know I am live, and you can't talk about the worldwide leader, but the heck is going on? Thought we were good. I got my DuckTales on Disney Plus. I don't really do too much Hulu, but I like to, Hulu's are, keep Hulu around just in case. And then obviously I can't be without my 30 for 30s. So I got to have the ESPN app just based on 30 for 30s. And then the other stuff that goes along with it is gravy. But right now they done switched up the model. I get it, but I don't know. Talking about I'm busy right now. We're all busy. I don't know. Everybody's out there has their own, right? Whether it be work, whether it be family, whether it be your passion project, whether it be speaking of documentaries that you need to see, the Barkley Marathons, which I'll get on the screen in a bit. The Barkley Marathons, not hoops related. This is obviously it's about an ultra marathon in Tennessee. But check it out. You won't be disappointed. You can find it on YouTube. Just about folks that, right, these people that do ultra marathons and, David Goggins crowd of folks. So I bring that up only because, everybody, everybody's going through their go-through. My Aunt Martha used to say, folks are doing the best that they can. They're doing the best they can, which by and large is the case. Everybody got their day-to-day, So myself being an educator, it being, the school year proper now, honeymoon being over September, we're in October, November, we're into just the thick of things. On another journey. It's a beautiful thing. But, teachers, students, you see it from a different angle, but you understand it. Parents, your kids are going through, you got it. It's just the year, a lot is condensed. So right now, there's just a lot of things, a lot of all good things. I got to get to a job, but that's condensed one after the other. And where am I going with this? Going with this is like some of my emails. I'm going to get to them. I'm going to get the dog on it. And then let some of them get out of hand. But now I just got so many emails I got to dissect through. And a good majority of it is just going to be, okay, this person, this subscription, but then, what's bad about when you let your emails get, because, a handful of those are going to be important. And a couple things I probably missed. Heck, does this have to do with VJ Edgecombe? I'm feeling like I missed on this young man who's obviously not going to be as good as Derek White this year. But doggone it, the Joel Embiid era in Philadelphia is over. It's been over, folks. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I got family in the city of brotherly love. That's my roots. Okay? My grandmother back in the day in Philly. What are you talking about? Why I root for the Eagles? why I'm committed to my Jets, why I love the Mets. I'm born in Jersey, family in Philly, baby. The Rock. So Philly sports is near and dear to my heart. Y'all can let me know how you feel about this, because it's a, should I have taken Derek White, who is going to cook, right? Or should I have taken a VJ? And by the way, I already have Stephon Castle on my team. Excuse me, folks. We have a keeper league, so I can only keep 6 guys, and I already got Castle, who's rookie of the year. So that I'm like, do I want to? Do I have space? My keepers were, I got Durant, Harden, my main man Ivica Zubac, who should have been an All-Star last year, Desmond Bain, 4, Castle, and then I forget the other starter. I have to go and look at it. But that's why I said I already have my young lion in Stephon Castle, who I believe in. And if I'm not getting Cooper Flagg, and if Dylan Harper is going to have to wait, he's going to play winning playoff basketball, but he's not going to put up big stats because there's too many mouths to feed. That's Harper. And then VJ Edgecombe, I don't know. I just wasn't sure how ready he was going to be. And obviously, it's Tyrese Maxey's team. It's been Tyrese Maxey's team, no matter what nobody wants to say. Okay, and then they have, right, Paul George. So I'm feeling less bad now that I really think about it. If you have Tyrese Maxey, but you never know when George and Embiid are going to be in the lineup, that's where Edgecombe is going to have opportunities to cook. Because Embiid's not going to. I can't speak for anybody. I don't speak for people, but I'm not expecting Embiid to be in the lineup for more than 65 games, if that. Enough to get his league awards, and then done. Okay, Paul George, I don't know why, since when he's Mr. Injury Prone. That was Kawhi's designation. Next thing you know, last year, and it was a lost season. But the Paul George I remember showed up to work every single day. So relative to Edgecombe, he's got Maxey, All-Star, Paul George, All-Star level, not an All-Star. He's not an All-Star anymore, but he's on that level. Do we yawn on Sand City Sports? We got to. What's going on? We don't do the yawn. Now that I think about it, it's Derek White and Jaylen Brown against the world. Edgecombe, he's going to cook some nights, but then other nights he's going to have to fall back. So I trust Edgecombe more than I'm not. And folks, Ace, Will Hardy's a good coach. I don't know why the Utah Jazz have been tanking this last 4 and 5 years. I don't see how it's benefited them. And they could, if they wanted to, be a team, right, like the Chicago Bulls on the, in the play-in conversation. Good coach, good culture, just not winning these games for whatever reason. Yes, the West is the West. So that is a reason. Right? Talking about the Utah Jazz. But they're they're in the mix, and you're starting to see where this thing is going. You got Laurie to lead the way. Now you got Ace Bailey. Forget whether he's an NBA player, so he lives a super duper unbelievably privileged life. All this talk about I don't want to go here. Stop it. Don't act like you fly commercial like they did in the 80s, sitting in the middle row because you're not a vet on an airplane. People smoking like chimneys. Stop it. All these teams, private jets. You go on these things built for scale, built for all these giants walking around. Lounge over here, kick back, put your feet up, hors d'oeuvres. Stop it. You're in that city for whatever the months of the season is, and then you head back to your hometown and you can be the man. But doggone it, if Will Hardy, and he's the type of coach that can do it, can get through to an Ace Bailey, we'll watch it. Because, that's where that pick, if you did scoop him in your fantasy league, becomes dangerous because, what's you I mean, it's I mean, they got players, they got, but it's Ace and Laurie against the world. He's going to have opportunity to get it. Hope he does. Cooper's obviously Cooper. But I just think it's going to take these other folks some time. Chris, you started. I mean, I got this is what it is. I'm gonna get to talking. That's what we're doing over here. But I gotta. Okay, so we just talked about Ace Bailey. Then we went over to VJ Edgecombe, and then the conversation about Cooper Flagg, who has no points. Got the game live cast. Cooper's got no points. ESPN wants to feel some type of way about your boy. Spurs up 9. You're watching. I can't. This is ridiculous. I'm going to catch up live. I got 2 other. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. This could be a compromise. I just called ESPN out their name. They ain't even let me get Deportes. ESPN. This is. I can't even do ESPN. Hold on. Because they said no to ESPN Deportes, and now I go back to Above the Rim. Now they want to pick. Somebody got to talk to, call Stephen A. Smith. He's got to call the ESPN execs. They're going crazy right now. There was no issue last year with my Above the Rim. Now, next thing you know, they blocking the Above the. I'm not pleased about this. Gonna have to get my arms around this. Might have to send an angry letter to somebody. Next thing you know, ESPN all of a sudden get inside the NBA. Now they're looking at people different. They went ahead and got inside the NBA. Now they're looking at you cross. They're giving you the side eye. You meaning me. It's wild. Just because you got the best, if not one of the best sports television shows currently, if in history. I'm not. That wasn't a clear statement. ESPN has one of the best sports shows on television, bar none, and an all-time great television show inside the NBA. No two ways about it. So they're rolling, and how they want to do. They want to make things difficult for your boy. Ain't right. Right at all. But we're keeping up. I just. Spurs pulling away from the Mavericks. Woo, Edgecombe. 34. Oh my goodness. Somebody didn't do their research, man. But that 34 is wild to me with Embiid. That's where I'm saying, okay, he's cooking. These early indicators, you start fast, you stay fast. And that's, I don't know if I can be too hard on myself, folks. Because look, he's in a similar, I don't know. I do know. It's not, I gotta stop saying that. I don't know. I do know that there's a lot of mouths to feed there. But Nick Nurse is, hey. But okay, what's going on here? Let me just go ahead and say boop boop. My bro may be jumping on. Looks like he's gonna try to. I'm gonna have to ask. He asked me. All right. Right? This is again. Apparently I did not do my research. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the Pats and Tampa Bay. What I didn't do in my fantasy league, Edgecombe, Dylan Harper, Tears. What I did do in the football fantasy league, I scooped up your boy. Okay, Mr. Mayfield, MVP candidate. Yes, he struggled against the Lions, but and Bruce Arians' front office, Todd Bowles on the sidelines, they got it wrong. So that's one thing I did do. Don't win them all, most certainly. I got that one. By the way, shout out to Unity Day. Shout out to the flag, man. Got my Unity Day, right? 20. Right? These shirts are super duper comfortable and stylish. Another person that's out there in the community. Shout out to the flag, man. Tim Luce, my cousin, but not just because there's a relationship. Not just because it's family. I mean, he works hard, man. So, shout out to Unity Day again. That's our community cookout here on the Cape, specifically in Barnstable. That's the community thing that we do. It happened since 2016, relative to the issues we were having nationally with law enforcement and communities, and it's continued and grown since then. And it's point of pride. Point of pride. These shirts are a point of pride. They're just super comfortable. And then the Unity Day celebration itself. So my bro will be on when he gets on. That's when we'll shift gears over. We're gonna stay. We're gonna stay with it. Where it going is good. Yeah, the Jazz are, beating the brakes off of the Clips. Clips are going to be back, though. It's going to take them time. I've said that. I'm repeating myself there. But let me just be firm relative to the Clippers. It's that Adam Silver and the NBA, meaning Adam Silver, decided to give them a mulligan when his predecessor, David Stern, in looking at a similar situation. Maybe not to the magnitude, because Steve Ballmer, Daddy Warbucks Sr. is who he is, richest owner in team sports. But the idea of compensation outside of a salary cap, which exactly and explicitly defeats the importance, defeats the purpose of a salary cap. Right? What is the point of a salary cap? Folks, what's the point? If you can just do side deals. What are we doing? Well, I have a salary cap if you're going to allow people to operate outside of the cap. What's the point and purpose? Everyone except Bill Belichick. right? Do we need to talk about, just because we're talking about the good, do we need to talk about the bad and the ugly? I'm not going to go there. All right, maybe as a, not gonna, no, we don't pile on, we don't pour on when folks are having their issues, which is clearly, but that we're not gonna do that. But to the Patriots, I'm glad people are, catching the wave and feeling the excitement. Certainly true, right? When you're winning, and I don't know if too many people are thinking Super Bowl, but folks are thinking progress. 4 wins, Bill Belichick's last year. 3 wins last year, which should have been 2. That's 6 wins. 7 if you count the one that we weren't supposed to win. I say we, I mean they. In 2 years. Patriots used to win in 7 games into the season. So it's gotten quite rocky, uncomfortable, unforgiving, unrelenting, untrustworthy. The whole, how many, right? People beefing, people, I think that's part of Robert Kraft and how he's doing all these celebrations of the past. He wants to keep people thinking about the past. Kobe Myers or Olave? I'm going to say Olave. Going to need that. That's a question. We're going to leave that on the floor for my bro to dive deeper into that. Yes. I'm going to say Olave, and I can't dive, don't have the Madden or the football background to dive super deep into it. But a solid question, right? Do they need to, should they go ahead and add, or do you just keep growing with what you have? And keep the momentum. And not that, a new player is going to do, new player can come in and shift the momentum even in an even more positive direction. But I want to take a look, because it's in a book, a Reading Rainbow, right? Reading Rainbow, folks. My 80s folks out there. Butterfly in the sky. The Reading Rainbow. I can fly twice as high. I think back, man. Think back on my childhood, the awesome 80s. It just puts a smile on my face. I can't, obviously, now you get older, so you the nostalgia and everything is idealized, and the fact of the matter is we're just another working class family like so many other families, went through the ups and downs like anybody else. But in retrospect, what the super producer is coming through right now. Take that's Shaka Khan right there. That's shot all these years, and I didn't know that was Shaka. I didn't know that was Shaka on the Reading Rainbow. Captured effortlessly. That's the way it was. Happened so naturally. I did not know it was. That's Shaka on the Reading Rainbow. What? Folks, there's no two ways about the 80s being awesome. And for you new jacks out there, you need to get educated and get the wave. We don't say awesome 80s for nothing. You understand? The hairstyles, big hair, big bands, hip hop coming up into the hip, the hop, the hip to the hopper to the hip tip hop, and you don't stop, but rock it to the, in terms of the awesome 80s. Never mind if you grew up like I did. Chris can speak to this. Y'all don't know nothing about Oshkosh Bagosh that we had going on in the 80s. They can't match the style of the Oshkosh Bagosh like we had. And I feel ashamed. How did I not know that Shaka had something to do with the Reading Rainbow? Which now, because I'm a teacher, teach special education right now, enjoying it, wonderful. Excuse me. But I taught history for many years. That's what I came in to educate. So that's my passion. Always been interested in history. Ken Burns, documentary filmmaker, one of my heroes. Check out his collection. We're missing Ken Burns like we should have Ken Burns because of what's going on with PBS. The best television on television for kids, adults, and everybody else. It's a crying shame what's going on. I'm just leave it at that. We ain't gonna dive too deep into this. Is sports and culture and community and day-to-day grind. People just coming together, much as you want, sharing community. Holla at your boy. Good, bad, indifferent. I'm here for it. You like the show? You don't like the show? Right? You think I'm presumptuous? You think the Passion Project has something to it? It's you shoot your shot. You know what I mean? Communicate with me. As long as it's respectful, I'm good. As long as we're on this same journey as working people, grinding from one day to the next, paying the bills, keeping the roof, lights on, but still striving for sense of transcendence through the arts and through creativity. If that's what you're on, the energy, then you're welcome here. Come on through. Good, bad, indifferent. But what I mean to say, as I wax poetic about my formative year, my childhood years, is again being a history person. I can remember being like really young and like you're just a kid, and reading Rainbow is the best thing ever. And then you start getting a little bit older. You know, you're going through element, and oh wait, I don't like reading Rainbow. You gotta push back on something. You gotta push back on something. So I remember the shift when I thought that, oh, reading Rainbow, that's not cool, but I'm cool because I'm into like WWE, and it's like, man, you got to go through it. But I should have just continued to appreciate reading Rainbow, irregardless. Never mind what it did for me in terms of early literacy, which you don't think back on, and how I learned all these things that I take for granted, but can go back and now see the foundation that allowed me. And not that I'm a Harvard guy, far from it, but allowed me to get a good education, reading Rainbow. Right? Stop. Okay? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world it Carmen Sandiego? Where? Stop. Y'all can't. That mean that y'all don't do cartoons like we had cartoons. You don't have cartoons like we had cartoons. You don't. You don't. Shout out to Wemby. That's a little bit. How do we say? When you talk about Wemby, for me, it does bring a little bit of anxiety. I traded my first round draft pick in my fantasy league because they were slandering my good name in the league, and so I was confident in my team, blue collar team. I'm not going to talk about what Bradley Beal did to my blue collar team and essentially cost me Wemby. I'm not ready to talk about that yet vis-a-vis my therapist, but I traded the number one overall pick of my fantasy league because like at the beginning of the season, I'm like, I'm not even going to make the lot. I'm going to make the playoffs, and then all these injuries happen, and I ended up in the lottery. So I ended up in the lottery, right? And then so I had to give up that lottery pick, and then we do, old school, like pinballs or whatever you want to call them. to decide who gets number one pick. And I ended up getting the number one pick, and I had to give it away. And that number one pick was the unicorn, Victor Wembanyama. So when I see him shining bright right now for my arch rival, one of my arch rivals, because I got a couple of them, you know what I mean? And by the way, yeah, Chris, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, Bradley Beal, much respect, respect as I have for you in terms of what you do in sports and youth basketball and the Bradley Beal elite on the EYL circuit. If you would have been whatever. So you give up a number one pick that ends up being with the Victor Wembanyama. I mean, it's just tough. Set me back a doggone generation. But I digress. But again, in making the deal, folks, even like it just was a comedy of errors, right? Because even if I lose and end up in the lottery, there's only a 33% chance that I'll get the number one overall pick. It's bad anyway. You shouldn't be making those deals anyway to give away draft capital. But to give away draft capital and then that end up being the modern day Lou Alcindor, again, I'm talking, I talk, you gotta talk these things out. Now, it's not necessarily best to do this live with the public, but I gotta express the reality. So Wemby. But yeah. The Spurs, I have, and this is I sent my bro the link. Let me just, he's my bro, he's busy. He's busy working, family man, so he's busy. Everybody can't do everything all the time. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's what it is. But he'll when he I think he's gonna be on. He jumps on. We'll shift gears and we'll get over to football proper. But staying in the league. Let me just take this quick look. No. Chris, you brought up the Pats. I want to save that. We're going to give it about 10 minutes. We're going to give about 10 minutes. Give my bro some time to get here, see what he says, and then if he doesn't jump on, we'll go back over because they're at a minor indigestion. But I don't mind telling you, I feel good. I had some lasagna tonight. I do the lasagna and my salad. Do the lasagna and the salad. And so I got that taken care of. Sometimes they say you shouldn't eat after a certain point. Body needs time to recover, all that stuff. You're talking to somebody that just grew up on Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Fruity Pebbles forever. So, you know what I mean? That was just you eating we eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch at 2-3 in the morning, just loving it. Just in the mix, playing 2K Madden, that's how you live. Go to the convenience store, get your boxes of cereal, and just go wild. Right? Living good. Talking about the last episode, the Dreamcast. Dreamcast first came out. Play 4 players, it just awesome. Good times. Then you get up, go out and hoop all day. Right? Playground. You don't need we just go to this playground, that playground, hoop all day. High school, you come home, get freshened up, go out, maybe be social. Did everybody what's going on? Okay, quiet night. Let's get on some Madden. Let's get on some 2K. Good stuff, good times. Okay. All these flashbacks, all this nostalgia. Let's come back There was a connecting point between the 2K that I've lost. My bad, folks. But let's come back to it. I'm not going to talk a good amount. I want to come back over into the East. Talking to the NBA as we do. We'll do, we're bouncing around a couple different places. But we have to, we can't avoid, I don't want to avoid the hurt. I don't want to avoid the pain. I have to lean into it. Isn't that what they say? Got to lean into it. You don't want to lean into everything, particularly like straight right jabs. You don't want to lean into everything. But certain things you gotta lean into. It's a good win. Knicks scoring 119 points, getting it cooking. No yawning on Sand City Sports. Nope, no art there. Let's go. Where's my Knicks at? Giving me the throwback. All right. Okay. It's a good win. I'm happy for Billy Donovan with his new group, Matas Boulias, out of Brewster Academy. He's from the Midwest, but he played for Brewster Academy in New Hampshire. Perennial power, amongst others, right? Young Josh Giddey. Billy Donovan, he's just a good coach. So these guys, just a quick aside, the theory would have worked in Chicago, what they built up, had Lonzo Ball not gotten injured. Lonzo Ball was the piece, was the quarterback. Not subscribing now. Take me out of here. Oh, my goodness. All right, we're good. All right, we came back. You can see Jalen Brunson in a moment of stuff keeps popping up. All right, finally we're good, folks. Yeah, Bulls, leadership, ownership, guys buy in, stop raging against each other or whatever was going on. The Bulls, can be in the conversation, can be in the mix. But I go back to what they had built with DeMar DeRozan, with Zach LaVine, with Vucevic, drafting Pat Williams, Lonzo Ball. They needed a point guard, obviously. Cody White's a different type of a guard, more of a scorer. Lonzo, pure facilitator. So that was threw that whole thing off the rails, when they had, I think, built it the right way. Not that they couldn't win without Lonzo, not that that's the reason that they, never made the playoffs proper after that. But that was a part of the equation. Okay, so the Knicks, the new look Knicks. My anger and frustration aside, this is a good win. And to score 120 points, to play with that type of pace, guys, not that, you got Nova guys. Nova guys are gonna play the way, they're not gonna push back. They're gonna be high character, high efficient, that's, Jay Wright builds pros on and off the court. Karl Anthony Towns, no issue there. Even though there's, issues last year and people want to, how dare Tom Thibodeau how dare Tom Thibodeau criticize somebody for not doing what they're supposed to be doing? How dare? No. My point is, Cat, for any any eccentric tendency, he's a team guy. He's gonna buy you. So you got the Nova connection, Hart, Bridges, JB. Still need DiVincenzo. He's doing his thing in Minnesota. He needs to be back in New York. I'm not coming off of that point. You got Catman. You got the last OG. You got Clarkson off the bench. You got a deep bench. Tyler Kolek, a bunch of others. So I'm not going to concede that offense was a weakness for Tom Thibodeau. People want to use that narrative. I'm not conceding that one bit. The Knicks came back, multiple 20-point leads against the defending NBA champion Boston Celtics and got them up out of there. Tom Thibodeau can coach offense, can scheme up high-level offense. All right. As can Mike Brown, folks. And so a good win. Happy for the team. I can see, right? You got the Orlando Magic, the young Lions that have not been there, but that are climbing. And then you just got a lot of injuries that everybody knows. Celtics, Sixers, Pacers, right? That's leading teams dealing with these injuries, opening the door. The Knicks with continuity, at least player-wise, because of the idiotic decision to get rid of the coach. Knicks, Magic, Bulls. Can't trust the Hornets in any way, shape, or form. Milwaukee is still recovering from giving away Drew Holiday. If teams, let me just go ahead and let folks know. Okay, you got input from folks. Let them know what's going on. See if my brother is going to jump in. We'll give him about 10 more minutes. Then we're going to shift gears in the slice of life. Then we're going to keep it moving. Okay, folks. New York Knicks, go get them. Take advantage of this Eastern Conference and run the tables and get it done. Let it be a Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr thing. Can the Knicks win the championship? Yes, they most certainly can. Are they the favorites in my mind? No, the favorites going to come out of the West. All right, but they have the pieces. If Mike Brown can find a way, can get through to guys, sometimes that new voice, you go from Rick Carlisle to Jason Kidd, that new voice, and now Cat's defensive efficiency goes up. The last OG is going to lock down. Mikal Bridges is going to lock down. Josh Hart's going to lock down. Jalen Brunson is going to compete. Mitchell Robinson, going to get it done. Tyler Kolek, run the team, make the three. On and on and on. So it's shameful that Tibbs is not on the sidelines leading a team. Shameful. But the reality is the reality. And so the Knicks need to, make the best. And there's certainly plenty of upside and go ahead and get it done. All right. That's not really, it's kind of the win-win for I didn't say too much there, but what I did say is, I'm still processing the nonsense that took place last year, getting rid of Tibbs. And as a new journey begins, I give the new coach, the new regime, my best in terms of doing the best for the city that never sleeps and bringing home a championship for the New York Knicks. So we'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. Okay, folks. See any other teams need to speak to. Like Atlanta, under the capable leadership of Quinn Snyder, Brooklyn doesn't know who the heck they are. Washington's super young, building. Cleveland's going to be there with Kenny Atkinson. Heat are certainly going to be there with Eric Spoelstra. Shout out to Eric Spoelstra, named coach of USA Basketball. Absolutely the right decision. Put his time in. No better coach in the league. Pass the baton over. Excuse me. Let's keep coming up the ladder in the East. Got a flashback, I got a quick flashback when I was in home economics class. Yes, we're gonna get back to the Eastern Conference, but it's wild, anytime working with the students, and they got so much energy bouncing off the walls, and it's that time it's like, we got to get through this class, and they're just going. But then I get these flashbacks of myself, identical, bouncing off the walls, opinionated, attitude. No young on Sand City Sports. So that quick remembrance. Let's come up the ladder in the East. Pistons, this is their time. They got the experience. They have the talent. Jaden Ivey back, right? Going along with Cade, Jalen Duren. Okay. Celtics injured. Pacers injured. Sixers injured. Toronto, new ownership. They got too much of the same thing. They need roster balance. Every single player on your roster can't be a 6'9" super athletic guy. Milwaukee, loyal to the soil, but not enough pieces. Charlotte, under the capable leadership of Charles Lee, trying not to be a bottom feeder. Magic in the championship conversation, and the Bulls, an enigma, but a well-coached, well-resourced enigma. All right, folks. So, brother said he was going to make it. And just like that, is he here? What's going on, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Not too much. Yeah, I was just wondering. Get my headphones. I should have had out, but you never know. You gotta, trust but verify. You gotta trust but verify. So let me throw my headphones on. And inquiring minds want to know how you feel about the Patriots. That's what inquiring minds are thinking.
We're going to win the AFC East and possibly win the AFC.
Going to win the AFC East. And?
Yeah. Go far in the playoffs. So we can win the AFC. I mean, the AFC is wide open right now. So
AFC is wide open.
Yes.
The collapse of the Baltimore Ravens.
The collapse of the Baltimore Ravens. I would say the Chiefs probably the biggest threat still because they have the refs on their sides.
They have the refs on 3.
But this team is just road warriors. So I mean, I don't really know. I said it in the beginning of the year. We have yet to see a Patriots team go out and build in free agency. You with me, bro? I think I lost you. I think so. He's on the way back. He's on the way back. It's going good. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's looking like the Spurs. Yeah.
Yeah, you're still live, man. So just take it easy. I'm
Okay.
trying to get the program back up.
All right.
Okay. Somehow I think we're live. I believe we're live. Yep. We're back.
I think the Spurs are going to win the West.
Okay, go ahead.
Possibly win the finals this year.
Spurs.
Yeah. If they stay healthy, I mean, Wembyana is making Anthony Davis look like a little boy.
Wemby. Yes.
Wemby, he has 40 points. I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. It's kind of like global warming, climate change, all these things, and it's here. The torch is being passed, and they are beating the Mavericks by 30 points, and it is bad.
Yeah. Well, you look at their roster, folks, bro. They have Wemby, MVP candidate. They have De'Aaron Fox, All Star. They got Castle, Rookie of the Year, and they have Dylan Harper, who's top of the list in terms of rookies. So they got 4 guys and a supporting cast. So a lot of
That's the
people are saying
play.
the
That's the
Mavericks are going to be in the hunt. I think the Spurs are going to be in the hunt, and it's going to take
no,
Dallas.
no, no. The Spurs are not going to lose a lot of games this year. I just don't see a lot of teams. I don't. I don't see a lot of teams beating the Spurs. Victor
Yeah.
Wembanyama is going to be MVP this year,
Mm-hmm.
and Fox didn't play. That's why I'm like so kind of mind blown right now. Fox didn't even play, and they're making the Spurs. I mean, they're making the Mavericks look. Ooh. Well, back to the Patriots. Drake May could win the MVP.
Okay, Drake May MVP candidate now.
Drake May MVP candidate. Yes.
Because
He's one of the best players on what a top 2 team in the AFC.
right,
His
and
numbers.
Okay,
What is he? 3-0 on the road.
you saying Drake May has a better MVP? Drake May has a stronger MVP conversation. Drake May is a stronger MVP candidate than Baker Mayfield.
I mean that's another. I would say that's another MVP candidate right there. Baker, Drake.
Okay. Who else?
Goff.
Indeed. But I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Baker as Drake as an MVP candidate.
I mean, I told you, man. I've been talking on the Patriots. It hasn't been just talking from the heart. All right. When have you seen a Patriots team go out and spend money in free agency like the Patriots did? Not ever. We don't go out and sign a bunch of free agents.
No doubt.
Yeah, Stafford. Stafford's there.
But Drake May in his second season in the MVP hunt. Okay.
I mean, I don't think you understand. I am, after the past couple years, my excitement for Sundays now it's unreal. Even though the Celtics just ripped my heart out just to start the season, bright and early. I can't even do it this year with the Celtics.
Yeah, the dynasty has left the building.
Can't even do it this year with the Celtics.
Yeah, it's going to be,
Sleeper team of the East is going to be the Toronto Raptors.
Because they have 18 small forwards?
Because they'll be in the playoffs.
Toronto, with 18 small forwards and Emmanuel Quickly?
Yes, with 18 small forwards and Emmanuel Quickly. That's like pretty much what the NBA is nowadays.
All right. I can dig it. Not huge on the Raptors. Didn't think they need to get rid of Masai Ujiri. But I hear what you're saying. Okay. Question, is Kyler Murray done in Arizona?
I mean, I don't think they just drop him just yet. They just hit him with an extension. So I would say not yet, but he got about maybe 2 one or two more losses. Fans are getting weary in Arizona.
Yes. So if this year continues to go sideways, he's not back next year.
Yeah, if this year continues to go sideways, he will not be back next year.
You're bullish on the Patriots being not just in the playoff conversation, but winning playoff games. Is there hope for the Cardinals to make the playoffs?
No,
2-5.
I think their spirit is broken early in the season.
All of a sudden, you look at their division, supposed to be one of the lesser divisions, not just in the NFC, but in the league proper. Every team in that division is 5-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So where the
saying.
heck?
So the Seahawks are playing good. The Rams are playing out of their minds. The 49ers are playing good. So I don't see the
It was
Cardinals.
supposed to be Arizona's year to. You were supposed to be talking about the Rams, 49ers. A lot of question marks there, and the Seahawks were supposed to be a doormat. So my question is, how the heck does Sam Darnold steal the thunder from Kyler Murray? Sam Darnold doesn't have he doesn't have
Jackson. Marvin Harrison, one is a bust. He's a bust.
That's strong language.
He's a bust.
He's an Ohio State He was an Ohio State wide receiver.
And every single one of them is not going to be perfection. He's a bust. All right.
Go ahead.
So, in terms of what he has shown, there's been receivers in his class that have outperformed him to the umpteenth level. So, and what motivation does he have to be better? I feel like he's accomplished his goal, made it to the NFL. I feel like he's good.
Okay. I think Marvin Harrison.
The fact of the matter is, one second.
Yeah, I'm high on Marvin Harrison.
Well, you can be high on Marvin Harrison, but the fact of the matter is the Cardinals drafted him before Malik Neighbors, and if that doesn't make your stomach hurt, like literally make your stomach hurt, then you don't really know much about football. Because how much better is Malik Neighbors than Marvin Harrison Jr.? Seriously, how much better?
Tough injury.
I mean, outside of the injury, he'll come back next year and still be better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Raheem Morris out of there if they don't make the playoffs. By the way, I'm not done. For me, Marvin Harrison Jr. is, he's a dude. I just think he needs to find
what more of a situation does he need to find? Brian Thomas is out there balling out in Jacksonville. He had a monster year last year. Like what's going on?
I don't know, but I'm not ready.
So I just don't. I think he doesn't have that it factor. He's not your Jackson Nabigwa from Seattle. That's why they traded everybody away. He's probably one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Okay. Are you sure it's not a little bit of hometown? Team's not playing well. Are you piling on to Marvin Harrison, or you?
The reason why I say no, because last year he didn't do anything last year. How many touchdowns did he have last year? 3? He didn't do anything last year.
Okay. Didn't do
He
anything
came
last
back.
year.
He came back. He came back stronger. Awesome. Was in the weight room, but did he get better? Not really. It's the same situation for him.
Got it. Raheem Morris. Team doesn't make the playoffs.
He's the
Is he on the
coach
hot
of
seat?
the
Falcons?
Falcons. I don't see him being on the hot seat just yet.
Yeah, I'm a Michael Penix fan, so I think
I don't see him being
it's
on the
got
hot
to
seat yet.
they got to give him time. I think the Falcons are a dangerous team. They're not going to be able to catch the Buccaneers. Watch out! Next thing you know, the Carolina Panthers are 4-3. So I think the Falcons are better than the Panthers.
Yeah, but with the injuries going on with the Panthers, they're going to be in some trouble. So,
folks, bro, the NFC is resurgent. You got 3 5-2 teams in the NFC West. Panthers are a game over 500. Bears are 2 games over 500. Lions and Packers maintaining their strength. Okay, Minnesota trying to find themselves, but Minnesota's 500. Cowboys are 500. Commanders are a game under 500. So NFC picture is wildly different than what I thought. Maybe others.
injuries.
Okay. But yeah, if you can turn the volume down on your TV a bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Technical things. I X myself out, and we got some background noise. It's not too big of an issue, but turn it down. Okay. Do you have anything more on the NFC? Do you see a team out there? I'm surprised by the entire conference. And it's kind of mirroring the AFC, which has its own twists and turns. Didn't see Baltimore, having the problems that they're having, but amongst other things, I think the NFC, a lot of teams, the Panthers, the Commanders being a game under 500, does that have to do with their strength of schedule? A lot of people said they didn't play anybody last year. Now they're having to play teams. Cowboys at 500 after giving away Micah. A lot of teams folks thought were going to struggle. Bears are 2 games over 500. Those teams mean business. So other teams like the Cardinals, right? Like the Commanders that had some expectations are looking at being what the Miami Dolphins are.
Like I said, I told you at the beginning of the year, the Miami Dolphins are going to be the punching bag of the league. I told you that.
And certainly they are. Now, they've had injuries, but they were bad before the injuries came along.
They were bad before the season started. I told you when they started the season with no corners.
And that is certainly the case. Anything further? And we'll certainly come back to this. But anything further in the AFC beyond the Patriots and you're believing in them prior and sticking with them, as they have success? Anything more in the AFC?
I mean, the Colts. Colts are good.
They are. I mean, are you think the Colts can make noise in the playoffs, or is this just a?
I mean, I see the Colts. It's tough to say the Colts being good in the playoffs because to say Danny Jones could perform in the playoffs is crazy.
Right.
But regular season they look pretty solid. Now, does that last the whole year? I don't know. That is the mysterious question. But right now they look good.
Right. And they're good, and they're taking away. Right, the Colts being good means a team like AFC. To your point, it's a lot of injuries. Okay, Dolphins are just flat out bad. Cincinnati, injuries. Good win against the Pittsburgh, but it's going to be tough for them. Maybe not as many injuries as the other conference, but this AFC
Cleveland,
West is coming in
terrible.
Yeah, we can come back to my previous feelings about the Cleveland Browns, but the AFC West, right? Logjam at the top. Broncos, game ahead of the Chargers. Chiefs coming back into form. Texans don't know who the heck that they are. Jaguars starting to play relative to some of their talent. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, etc. Yeah. I tip my hat for the Colts for taking advantage. It's clearly certain teams. The Ravens, absolute collapse.
No, that's the Jags. The Jaguars remind me a minute. Like the Jaguars, I think are the biggest. Jaguars are not good. Trevor Lawrence, he has people fooled for too long.
People fooled, and in a positive or
bad, in a bad way.
Okay. Solid point, right? Colts looking like the Vikings of last year. Regular season, conquerors. Postseason flounderers. I don't know if flounderers is a word. Okay, so Patriots. Bro, a little bit of slice of life. Thanks so much for tuning in. Kind of coming towards the tail end, but certainly appreciate it. We will look and explore of the joint live stream with your Twitch channel.
Yeah.
I know you have a Twitch channel, and you're doing gaming and defeating some of the top players.
Is super what? Yeah, man. It does not exist.
What's that?
You said Trayvon Walker.
You concur with that?
Yeah, man. The Jags are just a dumpster fire, if you ask me.
The dumpster fire with one of my favorite players in Travis Hunter. Okay. Not a tremendous amount of slice of life, but let's go.
It was only the Celtics against the Lakers.
I've never seen nobody play like he plays.
He comes in and he got all the spit
Breaks
deal.
in the richest commercial earnings in the history of team sports.
You better eat your Wheaties. Magic Johnson should have had that way before me. His personality, his persona, and I think that's where the jealousy grew between me and him.
Yes, I was mad. Yes, I was jealous. Yeah, I'm a competitor. I'm a B-man.
But in terms of winning, which is, to me, the most important part about it is he had that. And I wanted it. And I wanted to go through him. I didn't want to go around him. I wanted to go through him.
We're going back, folks. 91 NBA Finals. Yes, sir.
In the 80s, it was only the Celtics against the Lakers.
Never seen nobody play like he plays.
He comes in and he got all the spit
Breaks
deals.
in the richest commercial earnings in the history of team sports.
You better eat your Wheaties. Magic Johnson should have had that way before me. You know, his personality, his persona, and I think that's where the jealousy grew between me and him.
Yes, I was mad. Yes, I was jealous. Yeah, I'm a competitor. I'm a B-man.
But in terms of winning, which is, to me, the most important part about it is he had that, and I wanted it. And I wanted to go through him. I didn't want to go around him. I wanted to go through him.
I did not want to go around him. I wanted to go through him. Did you say I'm muted?
No, I couldn't hear you over the.
Over the hold on. That sound like that sounds like in the commission you asked for permission. That sound like that Biggie Smalls. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
From the front to back. Where my people is at? Where my people is at? That's what that sounds like. Hold on. Classic Mike. Bro, production issues, my bad. Xing out. Glad the stream didn't get affected. Anything further, as they say, for the good of the order. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next time you get with us, we'll dive deeper into the NFL just to get your certainly very knowledgeable about it. Very much so. But anything in conclusion, bro?
Not much, man. It's just the Patriots are rolling. So
they are.
I see us, going pretty far this year. And
What you called?
The Cardinals, are 13 points away from, they just I feel like have gotten the bad end of the stick too many times.
Some tough beats.
Tough beats, man. Every five straight games. So I don't know if they recover or if they just, the quarterback stock doesn't look so solid in college, if you ask me.
I thought Arch Manning was going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, so we'll come back.
Man, Arch Manning had it all y'all confused.
We'll come back and review that. But I was leading the charge in the March for Arch. And I've since been corrected.
That's pretty. You gotta prove it.
You gotta trust but verify. So, bro, great to see you. I like the fact you got the Celtics championship banner still hanging. Gonna be a different year. We'll just say different. But certainly next episode of Sand City Sports, get these production things in order, and keep on moving and grooving.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all know what it is, folks. Sand City. Go. Thank you for coming in, bro. I'm your host, Cape Cod Kid. Artist